This mixed martial artist stands 6 feet 1 inch tall. He weighed officially 205 pounds and holds a record of 10 victories, 5 defeats, and 1 no contest. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, here is Khalil Rountree JR.
Rountree sits down Robertson with a second.
I don't want to wait until I'm a champion to be able to tell my story. Being a 300-pound kid on the brink of suicide, burdened by depression, not knowing what to do in my life, not knowing where to go. And I just want to be able to share that and really inspire people, the millions of people out there that feel just like I do.
Khalil Rountree Jr. started his MMA journey as a 300-pound 20-year-old, looking to lose weight, and he would do so in dramatic fashion. Watching TUF with his brother was the catalyst for starting this change, and within 5 short years, Khalil would be competing in the Ultimate Fighter Season 23 finale. It was on this season of TUF that many would be exposed to Khalil Rountree's overwhelming power, as well as how nice and genuine of a person Khalil truly is, lending a helping hand to the other contestants whenever he could. This was also where he would first open up about the loss of his father, an event that still drives him to this day.
It's my dad's birthday today. His name was also Khalil Rountree. He named me after himself, and I was only 2 years old when he passed away. I carry around his spirit with me all the time. If my dad were here today, it'd be a good day.
Originally training under Wanderlei Silva at the One Fight Team Gym, Khalil would eventually move on to Blackhouse MMA, where he was able to gain mentorship from Anderson Silva, before ultimately finding his home at Syndicate MMA and in Thailand at Tiger Muay Thai. On March 12, 2011, only a year after his training began, Khalil Rountree was able to lose 100 pounds and would take his first amateur fight under the Tough Enough promotion, knocking out his opponent Travis Gelmeyer in the first 20 seconds. 3 months later, Khalil would then go on to get another 16-second KO at King of the Cage against Niels Berleman. On September 16, 2011, Khalil would fight against Aaron Fonseca for the MMA X Nevada Team qualifiers. Khalil started out strong, landing some heavy combos in the first and second round, and was even able to land a takedown at the end of the second round. Aaron was able to capitalize on this, however, and gains the top position. In the third round, Khalil Rountree was able to land some big hooks, but ultimately gets taken down and gets into the full mount. Even though Rountree did a lot of damage from the bottom, Aaron Fonseca ended up getting the decision win. Khalil Rountree would return to Tough Enough on January 27, 2011 for another early knockout. Fighting Giovanni Zavala, Khalil Rountree was able to knock him out within the first 30 seconds, earning him the Tough Enough Light Heavyweight Champion belt.
And new Tough Enough Light Heavyweight Champion, Khalil Rountree.
His first title defense against Prentice Williams would take place on October 11, 2012, where it would go the distance. In both the first and second rounds, Khalil was able to do more damage while striking, however, Prentice was the better wrestler. At the end of the second round, Khalil lost his mouthpiece, and Prentice Williams was able to get a takedown at the start of the action. Khalil was able to get up to his feet, only to miss a big leg kick, causing him to fall back into Prentice Williams' guard. In the final round, Prentice Williams landed a takedown and ended up in full mount until the bell rang. Khalil was able to defend his belt and get the win by unanimous decision. Khalil would defend his Tough Enough belt 2 more times, both ending in first round finishes. On May 26, 2013, Khalil defended his belt against Lee Cordova, ending in just 49 seconds. Khalil Rountree was able to get a standing guillotine for the finish. Khalil Rountree had his last Tough Enough fight on July 5, 2013. This was around the same time Khalil would move to Blackhouse MMA, and the influence from Anderson Silva is clearly visible. Khalil Rountree landed a big straight left as Dylan Jarling was coming in and managed to get the win with 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the round, becoming the Tough Enough middleweight champion. Khalil would start his pro career through the Resurrection Fighting Alliance circuit, winning his first bout against Livingston Lugo at RFA 15 on June 6, 2014 by unanimous decision. The headliner of RFA 15 was Andrew Sanchez, a fighter that he himself would eventually fight. 6 months after his pro debut, Khalil would come back to RFA on December 5, 2014, knocking out his opponent Blake Troop in under 1 minute. Cameron Olsen was his third RFA matchup, taking place on April 10, 2015, getting a win by unanimous decision. This was a competitive fight, staying mainly on their feet, either striking or wrestling in the clinch. For all 3 rounds, Olsen would try to get multiple takedowns, as well as trying to smother Khalil against the cage in order to negate his striking. Rountree was able to defend the takedowns, however, and would be able to fight back in the clinch himself. Rountree was able to land some big shots in the second round and would both stumble and drop Olsen. The third round would end in dominant fashion for Khalil Rountree, as he would stuff every takedown Olsen attempted. Khalil Rountree's last bout in the RFA would be against Justin Palendi, ending in the first round. Justin Palendi started off strong, managing to drop Khalil Rountree within the first minute. Things would quickly turn around as Rountree landed a big hook for the first round knockout. Khalil Rountree's UFC career would start in January 2016 on The Ultimate Fighter, the show that got him interested in MMA in the first place. In order to get into the house, Khalil would have to face Muhammad Darius. The first round started off with Khalil throwing big shots early and Darius shooting in for the takedown. Khalil did a good job defending the first couple of attempts, but Darius would eventually get the takedown and Khalil's back. From here, Darius would attempt a rear naked choke that would last the majority of the round. Khalil eventually is able to get back to his feet where he fires shots as Darius pushes him against the cage. Things wouldn't last long in the second round, however, as Khalil was able to land a big roundhouse 30 seconds in. This would lead to some brutal soccer kicks to the body for the TKO win, earning a spot on Joanna Jędrzejczyk's team. Khalil would be faced up against Corey Hendricks, his friend and training partner at Syndicate MMA for the first official tough bout. Khalil was able to defend Corey Hendricks' initial takedowns and was having success striking, but once again would have his back taken. Corey Hendricks eventually sinks in the rear naked choke, eliminating Khalil Rountree for the time being. Things quickly turned around, however, as Corey Hendricks would have to pull out of the tough semi-finale, giving Khalil Rountree a second chance. This presented another problem, however, as now Khalil Rountree would be fighting Josh Stansberry, his teammate and training partner during his tough run. This weighed heavily on Khalil as he would once again have to face his friend in the cage.
It's not easy having to fight somebody that you're friends with. I can't name anyone who had to fight their friend or two friends multiple times in a 6-week period, live with the guys. No one's been through this before. For me, it was just like, just let me deal with it how I want to deal with it, you know? I don't know if people expect me to smile. I know that there's guys that would do anything for another opportunity and stuff like that, but I'm different. I'm a different guy, and I really care about this guy and Corey too. So I'm in a situation now where I've got to put myself first, and that's not something that I'm really used to.
Khalil's semi-final bout against Josh was a war, with both fighters throwing bombs early. Khalil was able to defend a takedown before Josh Stansberry dropped him with a strong uppercut. Fighters would continue to trade big shots throughout the first round until Khalil landed a straight left that would lead to him getting a TKO win. In the tough season finale, Khalil Rountree would face Andrew Sanchez, the headliner of his very first pro fight at RFA 15. This was a mostly underwhelming fight, with Andrew Sanchez maintaining a dominant position throughout all 3 rounds. Khalil Rountree was able to sprawl and defend the first few attempts. However, Andrew Sanchez would secure a single leg takedown and hold Khalil down against the cage. Sanchez would control Rountree with his wrestling, securing 3 successful takedowns in the first round. In the second round, things looked pretty much the same. Khalil was able to defend some takedowns early and land some big shots, but Sanchez shoots in for a single leg, pushing Khalil against the cage once again. Here, Sanchez would once again dominate from the top position, where the round would end. This round would have what would be the true highlight of the night, however.
Flatten his back against the fence, then turn to his right to face Sanchez and get back up. Just don't think he's sure of himself in some of these positions.
The third round would be pretty much a repeat of the first 2 rounds. Although fighting more aggressively and being able to defend early takedowns, Andrew Sanchez eventually is able to push Khalil against the cage and gets the inside trip. From here, Andrew Sanchez would lay down ground and pound and eventually take Khalil's back. This would give Khalil Rountree his first official UFC loss. His next bout would be on a UFC Fight Night card on November 26, 2016. Khalil started off the round strong, managing to land a big straight to drop Tyson Pedro in the first minute, where Pedro would shoot in and get a desperate takedown. Khalil was able to get back to his feet, but Tyson Pedro would eventually get another takedown and a rear naked choke, causing Khalil Rountree to suffer another loss by submission. After his loss against Tyson Pedro, Khalil Rountree would come back with 2 impressive first round knockout wins. Khalil Rountree would face Daniel Jolly on February 4th, 2017 at the Toyota Center in Texas. Ending the fight in under a minute, Khalil was able to defend the takedown before throwing 2 big knees for an impressive knockout finish. On July 16, 2017, Khalil Rountree would have another first-round knockout against Paul Craig. The fight went extremely well for Khalil, as Paul Craig had trouble dealing with the power and pressure of Khalil Rountree. Khalil was able to take control of the center of the cage for the entire fight, landing powerful shots throughout the entire first round. Khalil would land a big uppercut, causing Paul Craig to shoot in for a takedown. This, however, only led to Khalil throwing soccer kicks as he was getting up. Khalil was able to land a roundhouse that would lead to the ground and pound KO finish right as the round was ending. On December 30th, 2017, Khalil Rountree would face Michael Oleksiejczuk, originally losing to him by unanimous decision. This, however, would be overturned to a no contest as Michael Oleksiejczuk was found to have failed a drug test. Khalil was able to do well, but it was clear towards the later rounds that he was getting gassed. In the second round, Khalil looked refreshed, but the repeated body shots quickly drained what energy he had recovered. Michael Oleksiejczuk was able to take Khalil Rountree down early in the third, where he would finish the fight on top of Khalil Rountree. Khalil Rountree would come back on July 7, 2018 to fight Gokhan Saki, a fight that had originally been cancelled before. This fight was extremely exciting with both fighters looking for a knockout win early. It was Khalil Rountree that would get the knockout however, landing a strong straight left that dropped Gokhan Saki straight on his back, winning the fight in 1 minute and 30 seconds by ground and pound. Khalil Rountree would be part of another spectacular knockout. Unfortunately, he was on the other end this time. Fighting Johnny Walker on December 17, 2018, Khalil Rountree would eat a roundhouse. Johnny Walker would then get the tie clinch and finish Khalil Rountree with a brutal elbow. This would be the first time Khalil Rountree would receive a KO loss in his career, professional or amateur. It was also this fight that sparked a new fire in him, moving to Phuket, Thailand where he would work on his Muay Thai fundamentals. Training at gyms like Tiger Muay Thai and Pet Yindi Academy, Khalil Rountree would return to the UFC looking like he had just won a Lumpini Stadium belt. Eric Anders would have to welcome this new version of Khalil Rountree on UFC 236 on April 13, 2019, fighting on the main card alongside Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier and Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya. Khalil would enter the first round in a very traditional Muay Thai stance, staying light on his front leg and keeping his hands high, landing strong leg kicks throughout the first round. Khalil would connect with a big teep kick and then a combo of hooks that would stumble Eric Anders, and by the end of the first round, Eric Anders' leg was clearly compromised. Khalil would start the second round landing a big combo on Eric Anders, followed by a big left hand that dropped him. This would lead to Khalil firing leg kicks at a downed Eric Anders, avoiding any ground game and letting Eric Anders stand back up. This would be followed by another strong left hook that would drop Eric Anders for a second time. Anders would shoot in for a takedown out of desperation, but Khalil was able to defend it, only to land a big knee and another big flurry of hooks that would drop Eric Anders for a third time. Again, Khalil Rountree would stand Anders back up, only to drop him for a fourth time with a beautifully timed right hook. In the third round, Khalil Rountree would continue to chop down Eric Anders' lead leg. The third round was the best for Anders, but even so, Khalil was winning the round with more shots landed and more damage done, landing multiple combos as opposed to Eric Anders' single shots. This fight would end in Khalil's favor, winning the fight by unanimous decision. Khalil would then go on to be on the losing end of his next two matches, coming back on September 28, 2019 against Ion Cutelaba. This was a very competitive fight. Both Khalil and Ion were landing heavy shots on each other, with Khalil landing a big kick that forces Ion Cutelaba to look for the takedown. Khalil managed to escape and get back to his feet, where he would land some good hooks. Ion Cutelaba would respond with a Superman punch that landed, followed by a takedown. Cutelaba would then ultimately rain down elbows from the top, giving Khalil Rountree his second ever KO loss, both times by elbows. Khalil would return on January 23, 2021, going against Marcin Prachnio. This would be a very technical bout between the two, with Marcin Prachnio able to land some good side kicks throughout the first round. Prachnio did a good job trading with Rountree in the first, returning combos whenever Khalil was able to land his own combos. Khalil was able to land some good body kicks as well as punches, but Prachnio was able to land some good head kicks of his own. The second round would start off good for Rountree, landing a big shot early. However, Prachnio would fire back two head kicks of his own. Khalil would continue to throw strong body kicks and strong hooks throughout, but Prachnio would respond just as well. The two would continue to trade some big combos, with Khalil stunning Prachnio halfway through the round. Khalil would eventually land an explosive hook that drops Prachnio and a big head kick to finish out the round. Prachnio would come out a lot more aggressive in the third and final round, landing some heavy shots and shooting in for an unsuccessful takedown. Although Khalil was landing the stronger shots, Prachnio was able to land strong combos of his own. Prachnio was constantly pushing the pace in the third round, and although Khalil was able to stun him, Prachnio was able to survive and consistently lay down pressure on Khalil. This higher number of strikes from Prachnio would earn him the win by unanimous decision, giving Khalil Rountree another loss on his record. This would not deter Khalil Rountree, however, as he would win his next two fights in spectacular fashion, both early second round finishes. Coming back to face Modestas Bukauskas on September 4th, 2021, Khalil would start out with a dominant first round. He would continue to land big hooks, breaking Modestas' nose in the process. Khalil's pressure was too much at the start of the round, and it looked like Modestas was almost running away from Khalil's punches. Later on in the round, however, Modesta did start looking more composed and was starting to land shots of his own. The second round is where Khalil would get the brutal oblique kick KO. Halfway through the round, Khalil threw an unsuccessful attempt of the same strike. His very next strike was the oblique kick that landed and stopped the fight in brutal fashion. This same strike was famously thrown by John Jones, but never with the same ferocity or intent as what Khalil had done it with. Khalil's latest fight to date was on March 12, 2022 against Carl Robertson. First round started off with both fighters filling each other out. Khalil would take the center of the octagon early and have a very low stance compared to his last couple of fights. Khalil was more aggressive early, but Robertson was doing a good job countering, being a former Glory kickboxer. Robertson would throw a body kick, but Khalil would catch it and throw a leg kick that would sweep Robertson to the floor. The first round would end with another kick caught by Khalil Rountree, followed by some strong punches. Khalil would end the fight early in the second round by dropping Carl with a big right hook. This would be followed up by a knee to the face, a soccer kick to the body, and more hooks that would end the fight, giving Khalil Rountree another TKO win. With so many larger-than-life personalities, it's refreshing to see someone with such a relatable story and nice personality. Khalil Rountree is a very capable striker, and if he's able to improve his jiu-jitsu, I believe he could easily be a top contender. Get his previous fight history, Khalil has fought about twice every year, so if this continues, we can expect to see him fight again at the end of this year.
Try, get him down against the fence. Takedown defense so far.
That's the problem. When you use strict stamina.